a student that's sitting in a class with a lecture, and even if you're telling them they should be taking notes, it's still for most students, it's very passive. And I don't know how many students even know how to take proper notes anymore, to be honest. Um, but at the end of the day, those students um, who are taking notes want to learn. I find a lot of times students take notes and they're taking notes on the wrong, you know, items that I'm not necessarily going to be testing on, or in the past, that's how it's been. If I did a lecture, or if you're still using PowerPoints and you have PowerPoints up on the screen and you're going through a lecture, most of the students aren't even listening to the lecture. All they're doing is writing down or trying to write down every single word from the PowerPoint, even though that's, you're talking about it. And so they write it all down. And then, when I've talked to most of my students, I ask them, what do you do with those notes? You're sitting here scribbling in the classroom and you're, feverishly trying to write down every single word of this PowerPoint. What do you do with that? And for the most part, some students, if we're doing a study guide or if they're doing something, to prepare for a test, they may look at it. But in general, most of my students, those things aren't being used very well. And I'm, in college, I don't know if they were taught in high school how to take notes. I mean, obviously, if they were, it wasn't done consistently, because there's not a lot of consistency with how students take notes. But in general, if you're building in the ability for students to discover information in a way using AI, the idea that they can't learn by doing that, I just think is false. By discovering information, by talking about it, by analyzing it, by going through those steps, discovering it, reviewing it, making some different iterations to the prompt, thinking about what they need to do to be able to get the right information out of AI. And all I've done is just really try to help them with example prompts embedded in the assignment, forcing the AI to ask them questions, not necessarily just provide answers. And even if it does provide answers, part of the assignment is to verify those answers. And I build in time during the class to do that. And what I've found is that, students are engaged when they're searching for something. It becomes like a treasure hunt, a game of sorts, where I don't know if you guys remember Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego, that